ज्योतिररविन्दः ॐ सत्यं ज्ञानं ज्योतिररविन्दः. So welcome everyone. Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome.
Good evening. So let us start since 4 of us are here. Army time. It's 7:01. So we can maybe start if all of us have gathered. So I think last time, if I'm not wrong, and please correct me because those of us who were here. So this part I'm thinking that this we missed because I think you started with stepping back last time, while earlier we had taken up this escape from other influences, but this part open only to the divine. I think this was not discussed. Am I correct? If anyone would remember, because I think Taru took the session.
Yeah, Monica, we didn't do that.
Yeah. She thought that this has been done while we did not cover it in the last sessions, right? So this little part, open only to the divine, seems little but enough for a lifetime. So this we can maybe take up today, and then if you have covered already stepping back, then we can go ahead.
Yes.
You have covered. Okay, then we can.
Yes, step 1 is covered.
Attacks from adverse forces if we get the time. Okay. Great. So if anyone is interested, please go ahead and let's read this out.
Oh, yes, we'll start.
Yes.
Open only to the divine. Sweet mother, what does an exclusive self-opening to the divine power mean? Instead of self-opening, we could put receptivity, something that opens in order to receive. Now, instead of opening and receiving from all sides and from everyone, as is usually done, one opens only to the divine to receive only the divine force. It is the very opposite of what men usually do. They are always open on the surface. They receive all the influences from all sides, and then this produces inside them what we might call a pot-pourri of all kinds of contradictory movements, which naturally create countless difficulties. So here, you are advised to open only to the divine and to receive only the divine force to the exclusion of everything else. This diminishes all difficulties almost entirely.
Yeah, thank you so much. So yeah, any thoughts coming on this passage or any reflections are welcome.
I remember I read somewhere that Ramakrishna Paramahansa, whenever the disciples or somebody used to come to meet him, and in the process of talking, they used to say that so and so, that person has told me this, that person has told me. So in Bengali, he used to say that lok na pok. Lok means men, and pok means the kida, in the sense that worm or some insect. So in short, he used to use very short sentences, Lok na pok means lok is equal to pok, means the man is equal to insect. So we should not believe anybody. Like this has got the reference here that open only to the divine. So instead of that, because we 24 hours, whatever we are receiving, we are getting disturbed all from external forces. They are disturbing us, making our life hell, actually. If we start listening only to the divine, I think we will not have any problem, actually. Any problem. So these are the thoughts which are coming to my mind. Thank you.
Yeah, very true. Thank you. Yes. Anything else? Anyone? There is a couplet by Kabir ji. It says, साधु ऐसा चाहिए जैसा सूप सुभाए, सार सार को गही लहे, थोथा दे उड़ाए. So he says, I want such a sadhak who would only keep the essence and the crux and rest all which is thotha, which is not like rubbish and not to be used, that he would reject. But the problem is, as Badalji was sharing, that I think this is what we call ignorance, that we don't differentiate between what is thotha or what is garbage and what is useful. This is our ignorance that doesn't recognize what is to be ignored and what is to be receptive, to be receptive to. And in that ignorance and blindness, we actually continue to take those things as important which actually have no importance at all. They are very, very trivial, very secondary. And as you were sharing, that we could easily ignore them. But why are we not able to ignore them? Because something or the other pulls us towards those experiences, those words full of insult or full of praise, or something hits us inside. So there is something in us which responds to those triggers from outside. And as long as that something remains open to all kinds of triggers, it will be like a puppet, like you were sharing, that it will be puppet. And slowly, I think, as it happens with us, Sri Aurobindo says, a long, dim preparation is man's life. You know, so only after so many varied kind of experiences, many of them challenging, difficult experiences, and enough blows and thappads on our face, that we realize that no, that actually there is no need for me to be open and receptive to all these experiences, and they are now garbage. Now I know that they are garbage. So through our life experiences, we get to know that what we were considering so precious, वहां से कुछ मिलने नहीं वाला. It is actually all garbage, and so that we can actually turn within and commune with the divine, so that we know what are the divine influences to which I have to be open, and rest everything can be discarded. It takes time, otherwise, just like as we are born, we are steeped in ignorance, all of us. So only in time and with varied experiences we gather this kind of a strength where we are now ready for an exclusive self opening. Now, an exclusive self opening also takes us to purity and impurity. As long as I am full of impurities, I will be very open to all the adverse suggestions, because that impurity within me is pulling those suggestions towards me like a magnet. And as we become pure and purer and purer and purer through our own experiences, then that kind of magnet will only respond to that one particular important thing, and rest everything it will be able to discard. So it also tells me that how, I think, with every experience where I am open to all these secondary suggestions which are really not holding any importance, but I give them importance, and so I open, I realize that something in me must have been wanting something from that situation. ना कोई चाह, कोई ना कोई इच्छा उस पर्टिकुलर सिचुएशन से होती है हमारी. बाहर वालों की गलती नहीं होती, हमारे प्रोमिसेस होते हैं. हमको लगता है कि नहीं, यहाँ से कुछ मिलने वाला है, ये बंदा हमें कुछ दे देगा, सो दैट वी आर ओपन टू दोज सजेशंस. एंड इफ वी हैव नाउ थ्रू लाइफ एक्सपीरियंसेस नोन कि हाँ, वहां से कुछ नहीं मिलने वाला, कुछ नहीं मतलब कुछ नहीं, and that conviction takes time, then we can be actually much more purer within us, and then there is an intimate communion with the divine, and Then equanimity also is there. समता की एक बार हमने बात करी थी. Otherwise, so yeah, we are like swinging around from here and there. Anything more before we maybe read it once more line by line? Anyone? Let us just go through it once more. Open only to the divine. And the question is, Sweet Mother, what does an exclusive self-opening to the divine power mean? Instead of self-opening, we could put receptivity, something that opens in order to receive. Now, instead of opening and receiving from all sides and from everyone, as is usually done, one opens only to the divine to receive only the divine force. It is the very opposite of what men usually do. It's like, the visual that is coming to me is like a drain pipe. Like we have all sinks in our or wash basins. Hmm. So there can be a pipe where actually there is no strainer in the sink. Now, when there is no strainer in the sink, whatever you are doing in the sink, all the garbage goes into the pipe and actually blocks the pipe. No? But if I have a strainer like a chalni in the sink, then we all know that if I am washing my hands or there is some garbage that is there that we are washing, all that mota mota garbage will remain on the strainer and only fine water will pass through, and it will help so that the drain water pipe is not choked. So usually we are like open fully and there is no strainer at all. So all the kuda and kachra goes inside of us, and then we are wondering what just happened to me. My heart is feeling choked. I'm not feeling nice about it. Why? Because we are listening to all the suggestions and interpreting, and the whole system is getting choked. Happens with us, no, all the time. And then with our understanding, with our wisdom and growing whatever purity, we have a strainer, and that strainer is so fine and so thin that it only allows pure water to come through, and all the garbage and the sticky muck or whatever is there, it remains on the strainer and does not allow the pipes to get choked. So it is the very opposite of what men usually do. We keep ourselves open to all influences, but that's not what we are supposed to do. Now they are always open on the surface. They receive all the influences from all sides. And then this produces inside them what we might call a pot-pourri of all kinds of contradictory movements which naturally create countless difficulties. So the whole pipe is now getting choked, and I am having jealousy, I am having so much of anger. Why? Because I heard, listen to that person, I interpreted and I believed in my interpretations. Now everything is making a havoc inside of me. Yes, countless difficulties. So here you are advised to open only to the divine and to receive only the divine force to the exclusion of everything else. Now I think this is very well resonating with that image of a strainer, because now the strainer is excluding. Now चाय पत्ती अगर छान रहे हैं तो वो चाय पत्ती ऊपर ऊपर रह रही है. It is excluding the pattis and allowing only the fine water to pass through that chalni, like the metaphor that Kabir uses in his couplet. So exclusion of everything else and allowing only the refined movements inside of us. Why? Because now through our life experiences we have known that these are not benefiting us. This diminishes all difficulties almost entirely. So this is very revelatory for us that if I am allowing a larger opening in my drain pipe, it must be that I want something from those outer triggers. कुछ ना कुछ promise वो hold करती है मेरे लिए कि वहां से कुछ मिलेगा, वहां से कुछ मिलेगा. वो ultimately क्या मिलता है we all know. Lots of garbage only we get. And then we are wondering, why did I listen to that person? Why did I believe in what I was thinking? Then, of course, it takes time. So this is why I think what the sentence that we use in Buddhism is let go. Why let go? Because first we accumulate so much garbage in the name of something will happen here, and then I have to let go of that garbage because वहाँ से कुछ मिलने नहीं वाला. I'm just like leaving it alone. The strainer was open earlier. It was just allowing everything to come in, and that is the thing that I have to let go. It is creating a lot of difficulties. Yeah. Anything more here? Anyone? So this is also, I think, very good because इससे मुझे पता लगता है, through my experiences I get to know uh, that I was open to all forces. Especially when we get disturbing feelings within us, disturbing emotions. Now, good emotions, of course, nobody has any problem. So we don't discuss about good emotions. That's like, they are there and they are making us feel good. So all okay. But the problem comes with the disturbing emotions. That's why they are called disturbing because they make us very disturbed. Now, jealousy, ambition, greed, lust, desiring, uh, wanting to compete against each other, this feeling of me and the other person, me and the other person. So all these are very negative things. And why they are called negative? Because they create lots of unease within us. Now, if I experience any such disturbing emotion within me, of course it has happened because I have heard some trigger. I have my sensory input has allowed me to kind of take in some input. My mind has interpreted it, and I have started to believe in my interpretations. And believing rigidly in those interpretations, I am now really having a bad time. I am having a headache. I am having a burning in my body. I'm not feeling okay. So why was I open at all? So these experiences tell me that my surrender to the divine is yet not pure, is yet not complete. Because why was on the first hand I was open to those influences? So I have felt that through our experiences like these, we actually get to know our status. That अभी भी बहुत impurities हैं, अभी भी बहुत impurities हैं, which call like a magnet, they call all those triggers towards me. So there is no one to blame. It's a very good practice actually. When we see some bhasad in us and then we recognize, अच्छा मतलब क्या क्या चीज थी ऐसी जो मैं सोच रही थी, जो मैंने इस experience को बुलाया अपने पास. Then there is no one to blame. Who would I blame? And then with lots of conviction I come back and strengthen my own practice. So all these experiences I feel, especially the negative experiences, they prove to be very beneficial on the path of inner practice because they make us again not complacent. Otherwise, when good times are there, we are very easily complacent. So it is good. I think everything can be taken on path and must be taken on path. So especially these influences which make us disturbed, they let me know that my surrender is not complete. I am not only open exclusively to the divine, I was also open to other influences, and let me course correct. Let me set my inner compass right. So anything more here?
Yes, I want to share. So, what you're saying exactly, this happens. This is what happens with me. This is what happened. So, like, there are like 3, 4 frequencies, one will be very peaceful, and then after some time I will get this thought and start questioning and then get headache and all of that. And one thing I'm realizing is like, yeah, in terms of people, like I'm just reflecting right now that in terms of people, there are certain people uh, that I want to be accepted, as a whatever the relationship is, as a daughter, as a whatever. So I mean, there is that thing of being open to that force, that frequency which are the divine, and then being like, because of that expectation that I want to be accepted. And it's more not even an aspiration from my heart, but it's more like a social thing, like like uh, like in the sense that, otherwise if I'm alone and say I travel and I meet people, then there is this whole stigma that, oh, you're alone, you have no family, you have no belonging, you know and so the person is like lot of social stigma one faces when one is alone. So out of that need, one wants to be accepted by these forces or people in your like relative slash social circle, so that like when you go out, it's like, yeah, but it's also that these forces are then making you their slave. Like just for that one simple acceptance, I'm realizing that in return, I'm like unconsciously, uh, I'm taking in so much of that emotion in me. Like in exchange of that wanting that acceptance, I'm just also vibrating at that frequency, and so I'm unconsciously taking in all that. So I don't know what to do about it. Like how to really let go, how to become like so strong that one.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Chetna, yeah. So I'll just
so
repeat because your
yes,
voice is cracking. I'll just repeat it for all of
yes,
us, what you shared.
yes,
Hmm?
yes. My
Chetna,
last, yeah,
yes.
my last statement was just like how to become so strong that one exists in the
Hmm,
world,
hmm, hmm,
just with the divine.
hmm,
Have
hmm,
that complete faith in the divine and exist just with that
hmm,
in the world. Like
hmm.
how to really do that?
Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing. So, Chetna, I think I'll just rephrase for all of us because the voice was cracking in between. Chetna is sharing that many a times for acceptance or a certain social acceptance from people, since one is believing that there is a social stigma that is attached with being alone, one wants to be accepted and approved by people, knowing very well that it is actually a puppetry that is going on, because if I'm at times accepted by the people, if they reject me, I will be feeling bad. So knowing very well that that is the case, I am a puppet, and yet there is a desire to be accepted by the people in order to belong, since there is a social stigma attached if you are not belonging. So one is believing in that thought, and that is why this running after approval is there. And although one is not liking running after approval, yet one is not able to leave it also. And then there is also this aspiration towards the end, that how to have that state where I am not troubled by being approved or rejected, right? So that is the condition, and I'm sure she has not spoken for herself, but for all of us, because at one point or another we are all trapped in this game of wanting to be approved and not wanting to be rejected, है ना. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि जो सिर्फ अलोन है, फिजिकली अलोन एंड मे बी यू आर नॉट विद अ फैमिली, ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ हम वही ऐसा फील करते हैं. एवरी पर्सन at one or the other point of time wants to be belonging to others, wants to be approved by others, and we like to be approved, we like to be praised, and we don't like to be rejected, है ना. रिजेक्शन किसको अच्छा लगता है? आज कोई बोले कि अच्छा तुम्हें ये मिलेगा, चाहिए, वो बोलेंगे नहीं, ये वाला लिस्ट में से ये वाला पॉइंट हटा दो, रिजेक्शन नहीं चाहिए मेरे को, बिकॉज इट डजंट फील नाइस. So that's our somehow human nature right now. Now in Buddhism there are 8 worldly concerns, and in Kabir ji's terminology or other spiritual terminology we call this the stones of duality. And they say that the ordinary consciousness human being is all the time getting pisod, like grounded, उसका powder बन रहा होता है between these 2 stones of duality. They name these stones of duality, they call it running towards pleasure, running away from pain. जब जब हम ऐसा करेंगे हम पिसेंगे, ये हम सब फील करते हैं. रनिंग टुवर्ड्स प्रेज, रनिंग अवे फ्रॉम बीइंग क्रिटिसाइज्ड. कितना तड़पते हैं हम सब जब हम यहाँ होते हैं, तो है ना, कि उस बंदे ने कैसे मेरे को अच्छे से नहीं देखा. अच्छा वो पहले तो मुझे इतना मान देता था, अब वो दूसरे को मान दे रहा है, मेरे को मान देना बंद कर दिया. ये हमारी, दिस इज अवर लाइफ, वी ऑल नो अबाउट इट इन एंड आउट, है ना. देन अगेन running towards something pleasurable, running away from suffering, and wanting immortality, running away from mortality. So and further it goes on like 8 worldly concerns. So जब तक हम इन 2 पाटन के बीच में साबुत बचा ना कोई, सुना होगा आपने कबीर जी का ना, चलती चाकी देख के दिया कबीरा रोए. तो हमारी हालत पे कबीर जी को बड़ा तरस आ रहा है, यार बेटे कहाँ फंस गए. 2 पाटन के बीच में साबुत बचाना कोई, तो चेतना हम करेंगे रूट पे हिट. इसको बहुत लेवल्स पे डिस्कस किया जा सकता है इस कंडीशन को, बिकॉज दिस इज अवर कंडीशन, ह्यूमन कंडीशन, and at every level you will find some or the other resolution. But the crux of the matter is that as long as I am running towards pleasure and wanting not to be rejected and wanting always to be approved and not wanting that I should not belong, I want to be belonging, as long as these are there, आपको पिसने से कोई बचा नहीं सकता. क्या ऐसा जीवन चाहिए? ये हमारा क्वेश्चन होना चाहिए. और तभी कबीर जी कहते हैं दौड़त दौड़त दौड़िया, जहां लगी मन की दौड़, दौड़ थके मन स्थिर भया, तो वस्तु ठौर की ठौर. तो अगर अभी हम अपने पैतरे नहीं छोड़ पा रहे हैं, अगर अभी हम नहीं छोड़ पा रहे हैं कि नहीं मुझे अप्रूवल चाहिए, मुझे अच्छा लगता है जब मुझे लोग अप्रूव करते हैं, और अगर अभी मैं उसके पीछे भाग रही हूं, तो भाग ले, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, क्योंकि मैं छोड़ नहीं पा रही ना, तो भागे. एक समय ऐसा जरूर आएगा when I will be tired. तभी कह रहे हैं कबीर दौड़त दौड़त दौड़िया, जहां लगी मन की दौड़, दौड़ ले. वो कहते हैं दौड़ो. क्यों दौड़ो? क्योंकि बिना दौड़े हमें कन्विक्शन नहीं आता कि ये मुझे नहीं चाहिए. कन्विक्शन कैसे आएगा कि मुझे पपेट नहीं बनना? कन्विक्शन तब आएगा जब मैं पपेट बन चुकी होंगी. तभी जब हम शादी कर लेते हैं ना, बाद में कन्विक्शन आता है कि यार एक्चुअली में जरूरत नहीं है. और अगर हम रियली में कुछ सीखे हैं शादी वादी करके, तो हम एक्चुअली में लोगों को बोलेंगे व्हाई आर यू थिंकिंग ऑफ गेटिंग मैरिड, थिंक अबाउट इट. अगर हम सीखे हैं कुछ शादी करके, है ना, तो वी कैन एक्चुअली बिफोर अ पर्सन plunges into the adventure, we will say कि just think about it, why do you want to do it. But of course we can't protect everyone. सबको टेस्ट करके पता लगता है, तो एवरीवन सेज कि नहीं भैया तुमने करी होगी, तुम्हारी नहीं वर्क करी, तो चलो मुझे तो करने दो, मुझे मिलेगा, तुम्हें नहीं मिला तो. सो एवरीवन टेस्ट्स इट एंड देन वन रियलाइजेस कि नहीं भी करते तो ऐसा कुछ था नहीं, इट वाज अ लर्निंग एक्सपीरियंस, व्हाट कैन बी डन. सो दौड़ना जरूरी है, क्योंकि दौड़ के हमको कन्विक्शन आता है कि क्या नहीं चाहिए. सफोकेशन नहीं चाहिए, लिमिटेशन नहीं चाहिए. ये कैसे पता लगेगा? when I go through suffocation and limitation. So all these experiences are very, very valid experiences in our human life. Aurobindo says that all these experiences are the ones through which Purusha grows in stature, through Prakriti's experiences. There is nothing to be ashamed of these experiences. Design of creation is such. कोई भी माँ के पेट से इग्नोरेंस हटा के नहीं आता है, नहीं आता है. और अगर कुछ सीख के आ भी जाए माँ के पेट से, तो फिर भी many layers of ignorance are there, which slowly, gradually, those veils are removed. We can't help those experiences. The design of creation is such. So just acknowledge and embrace all these experiences as part and parcel of your life. That and notice that how much you suffer, how much I suffer when I am waiting for being approved, and how much I suffer when somebody rejects me. Keep noticing, keep that witness bhav alive. That what is happening in my palace, within my being, when I'm all the time in turmoil, thinking what the other people are thinking about me. Is this a state I want? And towards the end you put up an aspiration कि ऐसा कब आएगा समय जब मैं इसके परे हो जाऊंगी. So the very fact that that aspiration has come up in your being means one day it will be realized. And impossibility is the beginning of possibilities, Sri Aurobindo says. So right now what seems impossible to me, but I want to realize it. It's a very beautiful beginning कि अब मतलब ज़्यादा दूर नहीं है ना, समझ आएगा हमें कि इसमें मुझे कुछ प्राप्ति नहीं हो रही. So, है ना, what can be done but embracing all experiences and growing through these experiences. Nothing is to be negated. Can we just observe all these experiences as part and parcel of our life. आएगा, हम सबका समय आएगा. Yes, Anjali ji, you are muted. आप muted है अंजलि जी.
I just wanted to add into all these things which you were explaining so beautifully. Chetna's this thing was how to become so strong. So I think, as you said, that this is the starting. The moment you have understood that you are not that type of person who is satisfied with all these things, you don't want to be puppet. This awareness, this separates you from the common herd. Those who are जो लिप्त हैं ऑलरेडी, जिनको यही चाहिए, उसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. उनको प्रॉब्लम वहां पर होती है जहां हमने ये रियलाइज कर लिया कि मैं ये नहीं कर सकती, लेकिन फिर भी मुझे ये करना है क्योंकि मैं इसी सोशल उसमें हूँ, ये सब मेरे अराउंड है, इनका अप्रूवल मुझे चाहिए. क्योंकि 10 में से 2 बार तो हम बर्दाश्त कर लेते हैं, लेकिन 8 बार ऐसा होता है कि जहां हम सकम कर जाते हैं कि मेरे अपने हैं, ये मेरे ये हैं, और इनसे मुझे अप्रूवल नहीं मिल रहा है, इनसे मुझे रिकॉग्निशन नहीं मिल रहा है. So whenever you face that situation or the conflict, which as you said that it is a suffering, or दौड़ो जितना दौड़ना है, at that moment you have to stay back and you have to think about what is your goal, what do you want, what gives you satisfaction. ये नहीं satisfaction देता, as you said कि हम उससे भागते भी हैं और उसी के पीछे भी जाते हैं. तो हर बार अपने आप को असर्ट करना होगा कि ये मेरा गोल नहीं है, ये मेरा गोल नहीं है. तो मैं कब ऐसी बनूं जिसमें कि इन सब के बीच में रहते हुए भी मैं इनसे लिप्त भी ना हो और उनके साथ में एक्ट कर सकूं. जस्ट लाइक ए लोटस, वो जो संसार का कीचड़ है, मड है, उसमें मैं कैसे रह सकूं. देन लाइफ बिकम्स, इन्हीं लोगों के बीच में फिर हमें अप्रूवल की आकांक्षा ही नहीं रहेगी और हम ये सोशल लाइफ भी लीड कर सकते हैं. एज एन एक्सपीरियंस पर्सन इट हैपेंस ना, एज के साथ बहुत कुछ आता है अनुभव. तो बुजुर्ग की तरह से शेयर कर रहे हैं चेतना के साथ.
Yes, thank you so much. Anything else, anyone?
Yeah. From what I've heard, all the things you shared and what Chetna was sharing.
Jagan, your voice is not very clear. Can you make it maybe microphone? Huh? Microphone maybe towards your mouth a little.
Okay, am I audible right now?
Now it's very good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, from what I've heard you say and what Chetna has shared, I'll just start with an example that when little kids, like not little kids, kids or children, when they are confronted or they are given an advice that sort of opposes their opinion, they try to change the topic. They try to deviate from that topic, or put you in a different place. So like Chetana, whatever you have shared is something I think, like Monica ma'am said, all of us experience, and I'll talk for myself that I also experience this. And more often than not, the 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 thing that, especially when I I feel, some a part of me thinks that, okay, I'm not getting recognition here, or people are not praising me. you know so at that time, no, what happens is there is a frustration that comes in. And I've recently noticed this, that when the frustration comes in, there is a being within that can actually address it, because like the psychic being is always talking. Like it's giving very teeny tiny messages that normally, if one can silence the mind, they can hear it. But as you keep on practicing, what happens is, I feel that right when that psychic being is talking, the mind will say, acha, acha, let's change the topic, open Netflix, or let's go out for a drive. Like, okay, just see this new gadget that's, at least for me, that came out, and it distracts the mind. It doesn't, it distracts the being. It doesn't let that thing be addressed. So put it shortly, the practice that can be done here, at least that's what I feel, is to be comfortable in silence. Be very comfortable in silence, especially when these frustrations come. The best thing, at least I feel for myself, is to not, not wander anywhere, like not wander, not go into the movies and all this, dopamine creating things that will distract me. And also, I'll switch to Hindi, that दिमाग नहीं चलाना during that silence, क्योंकि दिमाग बहुत चलता है. And the thing is, the mind tries to, tries to talk to this frustration and say, okay, maybe this is why they didn't approve of you, or this is why they didn't acknowledge. Even the mind has to be silenced completely in this silence, as in, not just talking outside, but not even talking within, just keeping silent. And whoever you believe in, like, for me, I believe, in Ma. So I tell her. So in the same way, if you can believe in someone and just, like, a higher force, and just say, Ki, please take care of this and be absolutely silent, it will happen. And to back this up, in Canto 3 of Book 1, ma'am, remember we were talking about the oscillations, between the lower and the higher. Now, the between the lower and the higher, it goes from the lower state to the higher state, but is only able to stay, Ashopati's consciousness is only able to stay for a little bit of time. Then it comes down, then it again goes up. This happens for a while, until one point where it says that he is now in that higher plane, and he's able to see everything below. And he's in this higher plane, which is a very sturdy ground, and also he is protected by the safety of this higher plane. So basically, Ashwapati, as a character, is a very, he's a very strong character. Like, he's extremely, determined, and he's a different level of human being. But it is also possible for us. The hardest thing to do when the confrontation happens is to keep quiet, like not just, vocally, but even inside the mind. But if that practice can be done on a regular basis, then there will be light, I feel. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. टेस्ट हमें चेंज करने हैं ना अपने. हमारे टेस्ट बड़े गंदे पड़े हुए हैं हमको टेस्ट. ये लोगों की बातें सुनने के और अपनी दिमाग में जुगाली करने के. These are all bad tastes. So what Jagan was sharing, that I'll be able to have a settled poise in the higher plane, or being with mother's name, or as you said, that with the silence within and ignoring all the external commentary and internal commentary, I will be able to do that slowly as my taste will change. टेस्ट चेंज हो जाता है ना, फिर हमको अपने आप को पुश नहीं करना पड़ता कुछ करने के लिए, है ना। तो ये हमने देखा होगा कि, और टेस्ट चेंज हेल्प करने में हमको उसके जब बेनिफिट्स मिलते हैं तो हमें बड़ा अच्छा लगता है टेस्ट चेंज करने में। अब मान लो मुझे कोई समोसे वमोसे पकोड़े छोड़ने हैं और उबला खाना खाना है, तो इनिशियली किसी का मन नहीं करता। इनिशियली हमारा बार बार मन करता है कि अच्छा चलो 4 दिन नहीं खाया, 5वें दिन तो खा सकते हैं ना समोसा। तो बीच बीच में हमको द रेस्टलेस नीदर मेंबर्स टायर ऑफ पीस। Savitri में it comes, that as Jagan was sharing, we are not used to that much of silence. तो चलो ना एक फोन लगा लें, चलो एज ही वाज शेयरिंग नेटफ्लिक्स देख लेते हैं, कुछ कर लेते हैं, कुछ जैसे अपना लोअर करने के लिए कॉन्शियसनेस को, क्योंकि आदत नहीं है हमें। टू मच पीस वी कांट फैथम, मतलब उसका करें क्या, अचार डालें क्या इतने पीस का, क्या करें इतने पीस का, आदत ही नहीं है, आदत नहीं है हमको। तो गंदे टेस्ट है। तो वो जब टेस्ट धीरे धीरे चेंज होता है, और हमने देखा होगा अपनी लाइफ में कि हमारा टेस्ट ऐसे आसानी से चेंज होता नहीं है, वो पिट पिट के चेंज होता है। तो हम क्यों समोसा छोड़ेंगे, क्योंकि वो पेट में एसिडिटी करता है। अब मैं छोड़ूंगी समोसा। अगर मुझे समोसा एसिडिटी कर ही नहीं रहा भैया, क्यों मैं छोड़ूं समोसा, इतना अच्छा लगता है ना। और चटनी आ जाए साथ में फ्रेश, कोई और ज्यादा टेस्टी लगता है, 2-4 दोस्त बैठ जाए तो वाह, उसके तो क्या कहने। तो क्यों छोड़ूंगी मैं समोसा। समोसा मैं तब छोड़ पाती हूँ when it begins to trouble my stomach. So these things, these are disturbing emotions or too much noise in the background of mind. When they begin to trouble us, it's a very good signal कि मतलब आज अब हमारा टेस्ट चेंज होने वाला है, कि अब पसंद नहीं आ रहा ये इतना क्योस में रहना। अब पसंद नहीं आ रहा कि सबकी बातें सुन के उसका इंटरप्रिटेशन दिमाग में करके और उस पर बिलीव करना और जुगाली करना अच्छा नहीं लग रहा वो, है ना। तो फिर हमको एक सेटल्ड पॉइज, धीरे धीरे वी गो टूवर्ड्स दैट। सो आइदर वी स्टे विद मदर्स नेम, और वी सेटल डाउन अवर कॉन्शियसनेस डीप विद इन और हाई अबव, और थिंक अबाउट गुड थिंग्स। थॉट यूज ही करनी है तो अच्छे काम के लिए भी तो यूज कर सकते हैं, है ना। और डू पुट अवर सेल्व इनटू सम सेल्फलेस वर्क। बैठे रहने से कुछ नहीं होने वाला। बैठे रहने से वो एनर्जी जो है रेस्टलेस, वो जैसे होता है ना कि आप एक कुकर है, कुकर क्यों सीटियां मारता है, क्योंकि उसके अंदर एक रेस्टलेस एनर्जी है जो ऊपर नीचे कर रही है, वो उसको बाहर निकलना है। वो बार बार सीटियां मार रहा है। और अगर आपने उस, है ना, वो अगर वो एनर्जी बाहर निकल जाती है, रिलीज हो जाती है, तो फिर कुकर को कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है ना। या तो आपने ऊपर से खोल दिया, या जो भी है नीचे से बंद कर दी गैस। तो हमारी ये जो एनर्जीज हैं रेस्टलेस, वो अप डाउन करती रहेंगी, उछल कूद करती रहेंगी, क्योंकि उनको हमें सही जगह लगाना है। तो अगर हम घर बैठ के सिर्फ चिंतन मनन करेंगे और अपनी बॉडी कॉन्शियसनेस पे ध्यान नहीं देंगे, तो ज्यादा फायदा हमें नहीं होगा। तभी मदर के एजुकेशन में, इंटीग्रल योगा में हम देखते हैं कि माइंड का भी ध्यान देना है, वाइटल का भी ध्यान देना है, और फिजिकल एजुकेशन का भी बहुत ध्यान देना है ना। मैंडेटरी फिजिकल एजुकेशन फॉर पीपल हु आर 75, 80, डजंट मैटर व्हाट एज यू आर, मैंडेटरी। Why? Because when we are doing exercise, we are channelizing those restless energies, जो मन और इमोशंस में जाके भसड़ मचाती है। तो I was sharing with Chetna today that also make a discipline for ourselves and spend some time in regular। आपने डिसाइड कर लिया कि भैया इस समय, और यूज अ कन्वीनियंट टाइम। अपना ऐसा नहीं कि मुझे ब्रह्म मुहूर्त में उठना है, इतना चैलेंजिंग टास्क देने की जरूरत नहीं है अपने आप को। इवनिंग में चले जाओ, 6 बजे चले जाओ, रात को 7 बजे, 8 बजे, 9 बजे, जहां आपको लग रहा है कि चलो अब नाउ आई वांट टू मूव, रन और walk or yoga or whatever is convenient to each person, and just spend that time mindfully with your breath. Be mind coming fully in the body, doing those exercises, and at times challenging exercises help a lot. So in ashram we have these minor games. You must have, some of us may have heard about these. They are very challenging games, है ना, कि आपको छोटी छोटी गेम्स हैं कि आपको एक जने का जैसे मैराथन रिले करना है, मतलब उसमें अटेंशन चाहिए, है ना। फिर यहाँ से ऑब्स्टिकल हटा के वहां रखना है, और फिर एक दूसरे के ऊपर से जंप करना है। उसमें आप सोच नहीं सकते, आप सोचने करोगे तो वहां गिर जाओगे, है ना। So mindful games like these are very helpful because they bring us into the here and now. पूरा का पूरा यहाँ लेके आ गए. अब उस 10 मिनट या आधे घंटे के लिए आपको अपनी सारी की सारी दुविधाएं हैं जो लाइफ की, वो आपने बगल में रख दी कोने में, क्योंकि दुविधा लेके अगर वो एक्सरसाइजेस करोगे तो गिरोगे रास्ते पे, है ना. तो ऑल दीज आर पार्ट ऑफ एजुकेशन. वी कांट एक्सक्लूड all these facets of our life. So include everything if we can, little everything has to be included. And as we were reading today, Aurobindo's words, mother's words, that mother thinks that in work, Aurobindo's yoga is done the best. Put yourself in some good work. Wherever your talents are there, abilities are there, offer yourself there. Then work becomes a process of sadhana. It channelizes energy. Otherwise, all these energies will always go round and round in countless number of circles. किसने मेरे बारे में क्या बोला और मैं क्या सोचूं उस बारे में और कितना बिलीव करूं इन चीजों पे. तो ये दिस इज नेवर एंडिंग सर्कल. कभी खत्म नहीं हो सकता ये. और तभी शायद महर्षियों और योगियों ने बोला है कि जब तक पिंजर में सांस है मुझे विजिलेंट रहना है, क्योंकि ये चलेगा, ये मामला लंबा है. हमको इसके साथ जीने की आदत डालनी है. जैसे अंजलि जी बात कर रही थी, एक कमल की, है ना. इट्स अमेजिंग दैट लोटस, आई फील सो प्राउड अबाउट इट, दैट लोटस इज अवर national flower because it has a significance.
Yes.
It is taking all the nurture from the कीचड़ and blossoming. और श्री अरविंद का नाम श्री अरविंद है, ये कोई कोइंसिडेंस नहीं हो सकता. So we have to use all these experiences as our nurture and blossom, as you were sharing. Here only, here itself we have to use it as nurture and blossom. तब आएगा मजा. And becoming comfortable with the emptiness or silences is a very essential, as Jagan was sharing, a very, very essential part of our process, sadhana. Being very easy and comfortable with the emptiness that we feel within, the void that we feel within. In the beginning, it appears like a big void from which all the time we are running away.
Socially also, it is as Alokda always says, that loneliness is, if you perceive it, it is not the problem. It's sometimes blessing also. It's a matter of how do you feel yourself. If you feel that I am lonely, then it is bad. But if you think that being alone is such a good thing, you can change your perspective of perceiving yourself. Then also you can, I'm giving just tips how to become strong. You have to change the perspective. You have to change the perception about yourself, that weak persons, they seek company, but the strong persons, they can live alone. They don't seek approval of others. And then you can be happy. It's a difficult one, no doubt in it. Yoga is not easy. It's a talwar ki dhar pe chalna hai.
There is, your sharing reminds me of again another Kabir couplet. He shares, लालन की नहीं बोरियां, हंसन के नहीं पात, सिंघन के नहीं लेहड़े, साधु न चले जमात. ये शेयरिंग की जो ज्वेल्स होते हैं, वो बोरियों में नहीं मिलते हमको. कैसे मिलता है कि अच्छा एक डायमंड कहीं पे मिला, एक यहाँ पे, ऐसा नहीं कि एक बोरी भर के डायमंड मिल गया. कहाँ होता है ऐसा? नेचुरली वी डोंट फाइंड बोरियों में डायमंड, वी फाइंड वन, और एक एमेथिस्ट कहीं मिल गया, और ऐसे एक एक मिलता है. सो लालन की नहीं बोरियां, हंसन के नहीं पाट. स्वान also is like they are not in flocks. A swan doesn't go in flocks. Then he says सिंघन के नहीं लेहड़े. So जो lions होते हैं, there is only one lion we know, in one jungle. And sadhu न चले जमात. So what you were sharing, that a true sadhak, he knows how to be with himself. वो जमात नहीं चाहिए उसको, पूरा भीड़ नहीं चाहिए हमेशा. So yes, I think we have to just befriend ourselves more and more, so that when there is company, that is also okay, and when there is silence and emptiness, that also we appreciate and we make good use of it, as you were sharing.
Then you can purify your love, your vital thing, that what we mean by purification of the vital. The love we want to, we seek from our close ones and relatives, we don't get with others, then you can spread it out and you can feel love for everybody. So I think that this is the purification of your feeling of love for others. तब आप एक से ज्यादा फैल जाते हो.
There is a line in Savitri where Aurobindo says that himself he seeks, and when finding himself, he runs away from himself. तो ये हमारी हालत है. In the beginning, this is how we are, that जब हम अपनी शांति में और अपने साथ होते हैं, वो हमें आदत नहीं होती है, क्योंकि तो बर्दाश्त नहीं होता है वो हमें. और वही हमारा रास्ता है towards our own true being. तो अगर उस टनल को नहीं हम उस तक पहुंच पाएंगे, उसको नहीं बर्दाश्त कर पाएंगे, तो कैसे हम अपने तक वापस आ पाएंगे? How will we ever come back home? And it is, as you were sharing, it is a painful process. And that painful process because we are not used to it. Habits गलत डली हुई है. और again, as I was sharing, कि उसमें भी हमें कोई shame की बात नहीं है कि habits गलत डली हुई है, क्योंकि the journey is from ignorance to wisdom. The journey is from darkness to light. Otherwise, point ही क्या है creation का? तो ये लुका छुपी का खेल खेलने के लिए तो हम आए हैं, तो अब उससे अगर हम घबराएंगे तो फिर कैसे बात बनेगी? Yeah, anything more, anyone? So I think last time we had also done, I was absent last time, but we had also done stepping back. So stepping back is also...
Yes, stepping back.
Yes, and stepping back is very much necessary here, what we are talking even right now, because most of the time I am identified with the surface consciousness. All the turmoils of life, sensory inputs, उसने ये बोला, मैंने ये सोचा, ये जो सारा ऊपर नीचे चल रहा है, ये सारा सरफेस पे चल रहा है. और ये हम देखते हैं कि अगर हम एक ओशन को देखें, तो ओशन की जो ऊपर वाली जो सतह है, वो कितनी टर्मोइल में रहती है. ऑल द टाइम समथिंग और द अदर इज हैपनिंग. सारा कचरा भी ऊपर वाली सरफेस पे फ्लोट कर रहा होता है, अगर आपने ध्यान दिया हो. तो ये हमारी सरफेस की एक मिरर है. In ocean we can see as that as a mirror. But then Aurobindo, when he describes the surface consciousness of man, he says he is this and he is more. So let me just read it. Yeah, he is this and he is all the universe. This is what he says. Yes, we are the surface consciousness. वो भी तो हम ही हैं, हमारा ही तो पार्ट है. But we are more also. तो अगर हम उस सरफेस से नीचे जाएंगे डीप वाटर्स में, there are again layers in the ocean and we go deeper and deeper, आप देखेंगे कि डार्कनेस दिखती है, लाइट कम जा रही है डीपर, लेकिन वहां पे एक तरह की एक काम और शांति भी है.
एक शांति है.
हाँ, और इस शांति के बारे में प्रेयर्स एंड मेडिटेशंस में मदर कहती है that on the surface there is always agitation, which we all of us, they were practical examples of that. But then how do I find solace? What is the great remedy? Mother says, I go deep within and unite with thee. So this takes us to the stepping back. And since I am always on the surface, I am always open to all other influences, but I begin to live within, in the inner being, then there I see, अरे ये तो रही शांति, कहाँ दूर थी. और वहां ऊपर जो चल रहा है वो चल ले, थोड़ी देर वो चलेगा, उसको मुझे इतना तवज्जो देने की जरूरत नहीं है, ना ही उससे मुझे फ्रस्ट्रेट होने की जरूरत है, क्योंकि वो तो अभी नेचर उसका ऐसा है, जैसे होता है ना जिद्दी बच्चा, चाहिए 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 चाहिए, वो सरफेस पे चल रहा है, चाहिए 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 चाहिए, है ना? तो लेकिन नीचे भी तो कुछ है, नीचे आ जाओ। किसने बोला है कि वहीं पे चिपके रहो उस वाली सरफेस पे? So to know that we are so expansive, we are so vast, and on whichever floor I want to stay, I can stay. तो वहां का मुझे टेस्ट मिल जाता है। सरफेस पे जाती हूँ तो कभी कभी भसड़ मिल जाती है, ठीक है, फिर मैं नीचे आ जाती हूँ, वहां पे शांति है, बिल्कुल डीप विद इन शांति है। तो लेकिन ये नहीं है कि सरफेस को भसड़ वाला ही छोड़ देना है, दैट अगेन वी कम टू इंटेग्रल योगा, that slowly we have to change our thinking patterns and feeling patterns and turn all the thoughts and feelings to the divine। कि अब टेस्ट चेंज हो गया, अब सरफेस पे भी अच्छा लगता है, अब टेस्ट चेंज हो गया है, अब गंदी बातें सोचने का मन नहीं करता। तो वो धीरे धीरे होता है, एज वी ब्रिंग द डीपर लाइट ऑन द सरफेस, स्लोली दैट काइंड ऑफ प्रोसेस टेक्स प्लेस। It's very interesting, all this
Very interesting.
mystery of life, no?
Just want to share my personal this thing. I just finished one class from 4 to 6 p.m. and then it was from 7 p.m. So वो जो एक माइंड था ना, उसने कहा कि अरे क्या है, फिर एकदम अंदर से ऐसा लगा जैसे नहीं, ये सनलिट पाथ की क्लास है, इसको अटेंड करना है, और सब छोड़ के एकदम फिर भाग के आए। तो आई थिंक दैट दिस इज द चेंज ऑफ द टेस्ट। व्हेन यू सीक दैट टेस्ट, जहां अच्छा लगने लगता है, उसमें लगता है फिर वो जो सरफेस पे जो डिस्टरबेंस हो रहा है, जो एक मन कहता है रहने दो, क्या करना है यही बार बार इतना सारा, क्या नहीं, यही अच्छा है, क्योंकि यही यही चाहिए। जस्ट
Very
टू गिव
true.
एन एग्जांपल
It's a
कि
good example
हमारे
of
mind
changing
की
taste.
quality।
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Since you are talking about change,
And there may be that, at times it happens with us in the process that maybe now we are not wanting more words, है ना? तो अभी हमारा टेस्ट चेंज हो रहा है कि मन कर रहा है अच्छी बातें सुनने का। कभी कभी ऐसे भी समय आते हैं कि एक्चुअली में यू आर हैविंग सो मच फन इन दैट साइलेंस दैट यू आर नॉट वांटिंग टू स्पीक और एक्सटर्नलाइज एट ऑल, है ना? वो भी एक लेवल होगा, मतलब आई थिंक इट कीप्स ऑन कमिंग गोइंग वॉट एवर, दीज आर ऑल, so these are all, yes, very good indicators that at least अब जुगाली करने में इंटरेस्ट नहीं आता। So it's a
बिल्कुल
very
नहीं,
very good indicator।
बिल्कुल नहीं। और द मोमेंट द अदर पर्सन स्टार्ट्स टॉकिंग अबाउट सम गॉसिप, नहीं, चेंज चेंज चेंज, नहीं जरूरत है, स्टॉप, छोड़ो इसको, क्या जरूरत है बात करने की, अच्छी बातें करो। अच्छी बातें करो। वो अच्छी बातें करो, वो डिनायल भी नहीं है कि अगर वो डिनायल है तो ये ठीक नहीं है। अगर ये रियलाइज करके हम इसको एक्सेप्ट करके करें, देन इट इज गुड साइन।
So so open only to the divine, I think this is what we are at। Now the next is attacks from adverse forces। What we can do is, because we can still have a few minutes, 10-15 minutes more, so we'll go through this passage, and if we are not able to, of course there would be many things, we can continue this in the next session also। So let us go through these words and see what can we take away। Attacks from adverse forces, if anyone would like to read।
Yes.
Yes।
Attacks from adverse forces. Attacks from adverse forces are inevitable. You have to take them as tests on your way and go courageously through the ordeal. The struggle may be hard, but when you come out of it, you have gained something. You have advanced a step. There is even a necessity for the existence of the hostile forces. They make your determination stronger, your aspiration clearer. It is true, however, that they exist because you gave them reason to exist. So long as there is something in you which answers to them, their intervention is perfectly legitimate. If nothing in you responded, if they had no hold upon any part of your nature, they would retrieve and leave you. In any case, they need not stop or hamper your spiritual progress. In any case, when an attack comes, the wisest attitude is to consider that it comes from outside and to say, this is not myself, and I will have nothing to do with it. You have to deal in the same way with all lower impulses and desires and all doubts and questionings in the mind. If you identify yourself with them, the difficulty in fighting them becomes all the greater. For then you have the feeling that you are facing the never easy task of overcoming your own nature. But once you are able to say, no, this is not myself, I will have nothing to do with it, it becomes much easier to disperse them.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful passage. Thank you. Yes. Anyone? Anything? Yes.
When sharing about experiences or sharing about all the negative things, there is this tendency to say that there was this negative thing in me. This word, the construction of sentences that it was my ego, it was my jealousy. I think unconsciously we are really, like, at least I will say, I'm really, I'm really saying that yes, that is me, but here it says that that's not me. And how conscious it is to even say that that's not me, to not address it with myself. Yeah, so beautiful.
Yes. Very empowering. Adverse forces. So Snehi is asking, what does adverse forces mean here? Very simply put, Snehi, we can say that anything which is disturbing for us, very simply put, is adverse. Who do I call a friend? No, I don't call a friend as an adversity to me, right? I call my friend that no, this is not adverse force. This is giving me a boost. A friend makes me feel good. Can't be adverse force, right? So anything which is disturbing, yes, Badalji.
In defense, we used to use the term friendly forces, adverse forces.
Beautiful.
So there are only two. There cannot be three or four or something. So whichever I do not want, so that become adverse. Whatever I want, if someone disturbs that path, so that becomes adverse.
Beautiful, beautiful. So this is what we were talking, that we are stuck in the stones of duality. Wanting which appears good for me, not wanting which I don't like. So not wanting which I don't like or which disturbs me, or would be the adverse forces. है ना. तो अगर किसी ने हमको प्रेज करी है तो हम उसको एडवर्स फोर्स में नहीं काउंट करते एक्चुअली. जब हमको लोग इंसल्ट करते हैं, रिजेक्ट करते हैं, थप्पड़ लगाते हैं, है ना, हमारे साथ कुछ ऐसा होता है जो हमें नहीं चाहिए था, उसको हम एडवर्स की कैटेगरी में डालते हैं और हम बोलते हैं ओ माँ क्यों आ रही है ये मेरे पास एडवर्स फोर्सेस. नो, वी क्राई आउट टू मदर. क्यों? क्योंकि वो चाहिए नहीं थी. वी आर ऑल स्टक देयर, है ना, कि कुछ होता है जो चाहिए होता है, कुछ होता है जो नहीं चाहिए होता है, बस उसी के बीच में हम पिसते रहते हैं. And that is why mother says that one of the first things that has to happen in this yoga is shedding off of preferences and likes and dislikes. All is welcome, but you are not sticking to this or that. All is welcome, all is part and parcel of our life. But then this is also very good, what I think the powerful words that we just read, that you can't, mother says in the very first sentence, you can't help it, it will be there. बिकॉज यही तो हमारा प्रोसेस है, इग्नोरेंस से लाइट की तरफ जाना है ना. कितना अच्छा लगता है अगर हम कोई मूवी देख रहे होते हैं और उसमें हीरो है, वो है विलन से फाइट करते हुए आगे बढ़े जा रहा है, बढ़े जा रहा है, कितना अच्छा लगता है उस समय की. ऐसा लगता है खुद को पावर मिल रही है, हीरो को नहीं मिल रही, खुद को पावर मिल रही है. तो यही तो है ना, इसी में तो मजा है. दिस इज व्हाट इज एडवेंचर ऑफ लाइफ, एडवेंचर ऑफ कॉन्शियसनेस. तो अगर एडवर्सरी नहीं होगी तो क्या, बिल्कुल सब फ्लैट है, यू नो, सब कुछ सपाट, ऑल ओके. देर इज नो इंडिया, देर इज नो पाकिस्तान, देर इज नो अदर कंट्रीज. So this gives a little bit of kind of drama to our life, you know, these adverse forces. Yes, Sujata Di, you wanted to add something?
Just wanted to say Rag Dvesh, main problem in our life ना. राग द्वेष को हम लोग अगर हटा दें तो फिर कितना सिंपल हो जाता है सब कुछ. That's what I wanted to say.
Beautiful, exactly. तो वही है कि राग हो गया अटैचमेंट टू व्हाट आई लाइक, एंड द माइंड वांट्स टू रिपीट इट. व्हाई? क्योंकि अच्छा लगता है, अच्छा लगता है, अच्छा लगता है, तो और चाहिए, और चाहिए. इसी से डिजायर प्रोपेल होती है ना, और चाहिए. और वो जब नहीं मिलता है या उसको मिलने से कोई रोकता है, उससे हमें द्वेष डेवलप हो जाता है कि कैसे तूने उस चीज को मेरे तक नहीं आने दिया. तो उससे हमें गुस्सा डेवलप हो जाता है, वो हमारा एनिमी हो जाता है या वो हमारा एडवर्स हो जाता है, एडवर्सरी हो जाता है. सो इट्स गुड टू अगेन उसका चीर फाड़ करके उसके भीतर तक जाना कि क्यों मुझे राग होता है और किसको मैं द्वेष कहता हूँ. ये बहुत ही, बिकॉज एज सम ऑफ अस वर शेयरिंग दैट थ्रू अंडरस्टैंडिंग वी बिकम मोर एंड मोर कन्विंस्ड. And here also in the first paragraph, mother says that they will remain because they are the ones who are making me more and more convinced कि क्या नहीं चाहिए. That I don't want to be puppeted. जो चेतना in the beginning she was sharing, that how long will I remain a puppet of these circumstances? I don't want to be there. I want to transcend. So they make our conviction more stronger. तो वो actually में क्या कर रहे हैं, वो हमको और strong बना रहे हैं. Isn't that amazing? It's like you are going to a gymnasium and you are, अगर आप 10 किलो उठा सकते हो, आप अपने आप को कितना दोगे? आप बोलोगे चलो आज मैं 11 ट्राई करता हूँ, क्योंकि वो 11 भारी तो लग रहा है बट वो मजा आ रहा है क्योंकि उससे मसल डेवलप हो रही है. So this is actually what Sri Aurobindo uses in Savitri. He says that this is a gymnasium where through Prakriti's events, the happenings of life and the tumults of life, the Purusha is gaining muscle. You know, he's becoming stronger and stronger. तो जब ये धीरे धीरे ऐसा लगता है कि वो डिजाइन है, ये तो डिजाइन है, तो फिर गुस्सा भी नहीं आता कि आजा अब कौन सी नेक्स्ट आने वाली है, मैं तैयार खड़ी हूँ. यू नो, यू आर नेकेड एंड बेयर एंड वल्नरेबल कि आजा अब कौन सी नेक्स्ट सिचुएशन में आना है, क्योंकि वो आपको स्ट्रांग ही बनाएगी, है ना. that which does not kill makes you stronger. So let's read these beautiful words again. Yeah, attacks from adverse forces are inevitable. मतलब भागने की हमको जरूरत नहीं है, हमको ढाल वाल बनाने की जरूरत नहीं है. कोई ढाल नहीं आएगी काम हमारे, डालें टूट जाएंगी हमारी, कोई हमारे शस्त्र और वस्त्र काम नहीं आएंगे. तो bare and naked we are ready to face them. No? Attacks from adverse forces are inevitable. You have to take them as tests on your way. What we were discussing earlier also, that they are test of my purity. They let me know कि कहाँ कहाँ मेरे में impurity अभी भी है, अभी भी मेरे को बाहर से एक उम्मीद बनी हुई है. They let me know. So you have to take them as tests on your way and go courageously through the ordeal. What a beautiful image. The struggle may be hard, and we all know that it is hard mostly, but when you come out of it,
Perfect.
you have gained something. है ना, उसने आपको और ज्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग बना दिया, उसने आपको अपनी स्पिरिट से कनेक्ट कर दिया जो इमॉर्टल है. और वो अगर ऑर्डियल नहीं आता, वो एडवर्स सिचुएशन नहीं आती, तो अभी भी उम्मीद बाहर की दुनिया से बनी रहती कि वहां से मिलेगा. अब पता लग गया कि नहीं मिल रहा भाई, तो अब सारी नजर अंदर हो गई. तो थैंक गॉड सारे लोग जिन्होंने मुझे धोखा दिया है, थैंक गॉड कि मेरे अपनों ने मुझे धुतकार दिया, क्योंकि अगर मेरे अपने मुझे अपना बनाए रखते तो मुझे फिर हमेशा उन्हीं के बैसाखी बना के यूज करना पड़ता है. तो अब बैसाखी छूट गई और अपने अंदर की स्ट्रेंथ से कनेक्शन मिल गया. तो काफी बार हमको ये रहता है, जाने वो कैसे लोग थे जिनके प्यार को प्यार मिला, हमने तो बस खुशियां मांगी, कांटों का हार मिला. तो हम तो कहते हैं कि एक्चुअली में अच्छा है कि प्यार नहीं मिला बाहर, क्योंकि फिर है ना अपनी इनर स्ट्रेंथ से कैसे टच में आएंगे कि अगर बाहर ही बैसाखी मिल जाएगी, क्योंकि वो नहीं मिलेगा, वो बाहर मिल ही नहीं सकता. Design is not that. So he says, mother says, the struggle may be hard, but when you come out of it, you have gained something. You have become stronger. You have advanced a step. There is even a necessity for the existence of the hostile forces. They make your determination stronger, your aspiration clearer. So imagine कि आपकी कोई बैसाखी, आप चल रहे हो, आप चलना सीख रहे हो, हैं? और अभी आप लंगड़ा के चल रहे हो, पूरी स्ट्रेंथ नहीं है आपके पैरों में, और कोई आता है और क्रूअली आपकी बैसाखी छीन के ले जाता है. नाउ आई विल कॉल दिस एडवर्स फोर्स, क्योंकि उसने मुझे गिरा दिया. हाउ डेयर ही टेक अवे माई बैसाखी. सी, आई फेल डाउन. But then when going through that ordeal and going through that pain, I am trying to get a hang of what it feels to be my own feet, then I will say कि भैया अच्छा हुआ, नहीं तो ये मुझे हैंग मिलता ही नहीं कि अपने ऊपर खड़े होना क्या होता है. So thank God कि मेरे से छिन गया जो छीना जाना था. लेकिन ये हम तब रिकॉग्नाइज कर सकते हैं, we become then in gratitude when we have gained that strength within, when we have used that ordeal for good. Otherwise हम blame game में लगे रहते हैं. जब हमने अच्छा लर्निंग उससे नहीं सीखी होती है तो हम बार बार कंप्लेन करते हैं. तो अगर अभी भी मेरे माइंड में कंप्लेन चल रही है, इसका मतलब आई हैव नॉट येट टेकन माई फुल लेसन. और एक बार वो लेसन जैसे ही आता है, इट्स लाइक अ शिफ्ट, इट हैपेंस. जैसे वो लेसन मिल गया कि ओ नाउ आई रियलाइज कि अब ये सिचुएशन मेरी लाइफ में क्यों आई थी, जैसे ही वो लेसन मिलता है आपको, यू एक्चुअली से थैंक यू फॉर दैट लेसन, है ना. तो मन बिल्कुल क्या कहते हैं, भाव विभोर और कृतज्ञ. ओके कि और फिर ऐसा लगता है कि वाह, ये डिवाइन कितना करुणामय है, कितना कंपैशनेट है ना, इसकी करुणा अपनंपार. और अभी हुई क्या है, पिटाई, और क्या कह रहे हो तुम कि करुणा तेरी अपरंपार की, इसका मतलब अब लेसन मिल गया हमें, है ना. So that is how adverse forces are so helpful. So anything on the first passage, first half? So then mother continues, it is true, however, that they exist because you gave them reason to exist. So long as there is something in you which answers to them, their intervention is perfectly legitimate. If nothing in you responded, if they had no hold upon any part of your nature, they would retire and leave you. In any case, they need not stop or hamper your spiritual progress. Many a times we complain about our people who are very close to us mostly, or maybe in workspace they are close to us, or in families, that I have very difficult people around me. And many a times these people come in the form of our mother-in-laws, for example. Most of the people have problem with their mother-in-laws. Now it's a very interesting phenomena, because I have felt that a mother-in-law will remain and act as a mother-in-law as long as I don't have my full lessons from what she wants me to learn. I am the one who wanted her in that place so that I gain strength and stature. तो ये सारे जो हमने अपने प्रतिद्वंदी जो बिठा रखे हैं, ये हमने वहां पे प्लेस किए हुए हैं. That mother is sharing कि तुमने ही तो बिठाए हुए हैं. Because slowly through those experiences we gain strength within. और वो एक्सपीरियंसेस तब तक रहते हैं, मदर इन लॉ तब तक क्लोज रहती है और तब तक तकलीफ देती है जब तक मेरा पूरा लेसन लर्न नहीं हो चुका. ये मतलब आई एम सेइंग इट आउट ऑफ माय ओन एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ again going through that experience of having a mother-in-law, and knowing that what all people have to say about mother-in-laws and why are they like that. And I have wondered about this, why on earth. And it appears that they have a proper place, क्योंकि मैं अपने आप को एक डॉटर इन लॉ के रोल में कॉन्स्ट्रिक्ट करना चाह रही हूं, इसलिए मदर इन लॉ भी रहेगी. और जब मैंने अपने आप को एक इंसान के रूप में जानना शुरू कर दिया, तब वो मदर इन लॉ भी इंसान बन जाती है. फिर वो मदर इन लॉ नहीं रहती, वो इंसान बन जाती है. वो एकदम से वो क्लोक उतर जाती है. देन वो बॉदर नहीं करती चीजें. Then the other person is just a human being, like I am a evolving human being. So just like, I think that was just a window out of experience, and knowing that something in us makes the other person behave in that manner, so that I learn my whatever thing I have to gain through that. There was this one quote by Acharya Prashant, and he used to say, उसने बोला पर तुमने सुना क्यों. Very practical, no?
Very practical.
है ना? क्योंकि सबकी बातें तो हम नहीं सुनते. अगर कोई रास्ते में कोई बड़बड़ाता हुआ जा रहा है, तो मैं क्या करती हूँ, मैं उसको नजरअंदाज कर देती हूँ कि अच्छा होगा, कोई बोलता हुआ जा रहा है, कुछ उसका मूड खराब हो गया या जो भी है, कुछ बोल दिया. बट किसी को जब मैं जानती हूँ क्लोजली और उसने मुझे कुछ बोला, वो मेरे से बर्दाश्त नहीं होता. तो ऐसा क्या हुआ, बोले वही एक इंसान इधर बोल रहा है, एक इंसान इधर बोल रहा है, इसने भी गलत बात बोली, इसने भी गलत बात बोली, इसकी मेरे को नहीं छुई, इसकी छू गई. इसका मतलब मेरे अंदर कुछ बैठा है, एक चुंबक की तरह, मैग्नेट की तरह, जो इसको बुला रहा है. कौन है वो मेरे अंदर जो बैठा है? और जब तक वो मेरे अंदर बैठा रहेगा और जवाब देता रहेगा, तब तक वो बाहर से भी आता रहेगा. तो द पॉइंट इज कि मेरे अंदर वो जो बैठा है, जो बार बार जवाब देने के लिए तैयार बैठा है, वो क्यों बैठा है और वो कर क्या रहा है? कब तक बैठा रहेगा? वो मरा क्यों नहीं अभी तक? तो जब तक मेरे अंदर एक भिखारी बैठा है, तब तक बाहर लोग भी रहेंगे जो इस भिखारी को इंस्टिगेट करेंगे. So this is, I think, again what in the second paragraph, that it is true, however, that they exist because you gave them reason to exist.
Reason to exist.
है ना? तो इसमें फिर blame game खत्म हो जाती है, बिल्कुल zero हो जाती है. Now there is no one to blame. I have to ask myself, what do I have to learn from this person or situation that he is appearing like this in front of me? पूरा onus मेरे ऊपर आ गया, पूरा empowerment मेरे ऊपर आ गया. So long as there is something in you which answers to them. तो ये वही बात हो गई, उसने बोला लेकिन तुमने सुना क्यों, तुमने respond क्यों किया? So long as there is something in you which answers to them, their intervention is perfectly legitimate. I am the creator of my own drama. No one is doing any torture to me. And if nothing in you responded, if they had no hold upon any part of your nature, they would retire and leave you. ये वही बात होती है. एक आंटी है, ये दिस इमेज आई यूज, इट्स वेरी हेल्पफुल फॉर मी. वो रोज शाम को आ जाती हैं आपसे गप्पे मारने के लिए, और उनकी गप्पों में आपको अब मजा नहीं आता, लेकिन फिर भी आप उनके लिए जो भी चाय बनाते हैं, कुछ ढोकला समोसा बुलाते हैं, आंटी आइए बैठिए आंटी, और सुनाइए, तो उनको आप एंटरटेन करते हैं. तो वो आंटी बड़े हक से हमारे घर के अंदर आती हैं और बैठती हैं रोज शाम को उसी टाइम पे, क्योंकि उनको लगता है सी आई एम बीइंग एंटरटेन्ड, देयर इज समवन हु वांट्स मी हियर, एंड शी डज ऑल द rubbish comes out of her mouth and you listen to it, and then she's gone after some time. So as long as I continue to entertain that auntie, she is not going to go away and the garbage will remain. But when she comes, now she knocks at the door at the right time, nobody has made any tea for her, nobody has served any samosa or dhokla for her. She comes still, क्योंकि हैबिट है उनको आने की, आती हैं, बैठती हैं अपने जगह पे, कुछ कुछ बोलती हैं, बट आप सिर्फ सुन लेते हैं, आप कुछ बोलते नहीं हैं. अभी भी वो आंटी आना बंद नहीं करेंगी, अभी वो आएंगी, क्योंकि आपने दरवाजा तो खोला और उनको हक है आने का, क्योंकि इतने सालों से आती आ रही, वो आती हैं. नोबडी सर्व्ड एनी टी, नोबडी सर्व्ड एनी समोसा, आती हैं, बैठ के फिर आप बैठ जाते हैं उनके साथ, सुनते हैं उनकी बातें. हाँ, और वो बड़बड़ा के, आप कुछ कहते नहीं है, लेकिन वो अपना कह के जुगाली करके अपना चली जाती है. नाउ देयर कम्स अ टाइम व्हेन शी एंटर्स स्टिल, बट देयर इज नो वन इवन ऑन द टेबल टू लिसन टू हर. पहले तो आप चेयर लगा के बैठ जाते थे वो आंटी के साथ कि चलो मैं बोलूंगा नहीं लेकिन सुन लेता हूं. तो अभी चाय भी खत्म हो गई, समोसा भी खत्म हो गया, और टेबल पे कोई उनको मिल भी नहीं रहा कि भाई यहाँ पे कोई है ही नहीं, कोई है कोई नहीं है. And then comes a time that the door does not open. And then she says कि मेरा अब यहाँ पे काम पूरा हो गया, अब मैं कोई और दरवाजा खटखटाती हूँ. So these are our tendencies and patterns. Now, as long as something in me is entertaining them, having joy in them, and doing a nice jugali of them, they will keep on coming. And all this is very beautifully elaborated in Savitri. ओल्ड पासपोर्ट सर्व्ड, कैंसल्ड पासपोर्ट आर सर्विंग. मतलब आपने किसी का पासपोर्ट कैंसिल कर दिया, दैट इज द वर्ड ही यूज, कि आपने किसी का पासपोर्ट कैंसिल कर दिया. ओल्ड वीजाज, वो नहीं वैलिड है वीजा, वो बंदा तब भी एंटर कर रहा है घर में, क्योंकि कोई चेक ही नहीं कर रहा कि अरे ये तो मैंने मना कर चुका था इसको, ये कहां से आ गया. तो माइंडफुलनेस इज नॉट देयर. So we are continuing to ruminate upon all those things which are harmful to us. Although at one point of time I have rejected, भैया इसको तो मैं कल मना कर चुकी थी, ये वापस कैसे आके बैठ गया घर में. And this continues as long as we are convinced that no entertaining anymore. This is the divine comedy and tragedy of our lives. Yeah, so I think we should take a pause here. You can continue, all of us can continue in the next one, from maybe the second half. And if there are any further last comments or reflections, we can take.
It's a great session, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, then let's take a last moment of silence to share, dedicate all the merit, anything good that we may have gathered within, sharing all that goodness and prasad with all the limitless sentient beings near and far. May all of us have lots of peace in our life. May we understand suffering, and may the causes of suffering and suffering be eliminated from our life. And may we have happiness, true happiness, and also the causes for true happiness in our lives. Dedicating the merit to all the sentient beings. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.